I'm not comfortable sitting right here. It's obviously the cleanest stuff. It's aggressive. Why did you mute it after both of us stopped talking? Who goes? That's about it.
Please find your seats. I now call this meeting to order at 7:09 p.m. We will begin with opening roll call. Please.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Hey.
Justin P. Gillette. Howdy, Senate. Chief Justice Chopra. Speaker Mendoza.
Howdy.
Chair Berger.
Howdy.
Chair Harris. Howdy. Chair Robioso. Howdy. Chair J.R. Rodriguez. Howdy. Chair C. Rodriguez. Chair Banks. Howdy. Chair McGill.
Howdy.
Chair Spur.
Howdy.
Chair Gupta. Howdy. Senator Ahmed. Senator Aiken. Senator Ali. Senator Machado. Senator Anderson. Senator Cabrera. Senator Carlson. Senator Clegg. Senator Damian. Howdy. Senator Dang. Senator Gray. Senator DeMonteris. Senator Dow. Howdy. Senator Feldman. Howdy. Senator Fisher. Senator Flores. Senator Frank.
Howdy.
Senator Julio Garcia.
Howdy.
Senator William Garcia.
Howdy.
Senator Gay. Senator George. Senator Glissman. Senator Graham. Senator Hanley. Senator Hardison.
Howdy.
Senator Hutto. Senator Jeffries.
Howdy.
Senator Clayman. Senator Korkmaz.
Howdy.
Senator Krogh. Senator Landry. Senator Luttrell.
Howdy.
Senator Mandel. Senator Marufo.
Howdy.
Senator Martin.
Howdy.
Senator McHugh. Howdy. Senator McGill. Senator McQueen. Howdy. Senator Montez.
Howdy.
Senator Morgan. Howdy. Senator Murphy. Senator Newman.
Howdy.
Senator Noyola.
Howdy.
Senator Pauls.
Howdy.
Senator Pena.
Howdy.
Senator Pena.
Howdy.
Senator Pett. Senator Price,
Howdy.
Senator Ramirez, Senator Resendez, Senator Rivera, Senator Rowan,
Howdy.
Senator Ruggles, Senator Hayden Smith,
Howdy.
Senator Gunnar Smith, Senator Tran, Senator Trosclair, Senator Collinson, Senator Ulick,
Howdy.
Senator Walther, Senator Wheeler, Senator Woods, Senator Haynes,
Howdy.
Senator Nassus,
Howdy.
Senator Oldag,
Here. Howdy.
Senator Rahman,
Thank you. We'll now move into a period of invocation and pledges of allegiance led by Chair Harris. Y'all please rise.
Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening. We thank you for safe travels here and pray for safe travels home. Dear God, we just thank you for every day. In your name we pray. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
and now to Texas.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. We'll now move into a period of the reading of the mission statement and the Aggie Honor Code read by our longest serving senator, Senator Holton.
Texas A&M Student Senate represents all students in order to enhance the Texas A&M experience within our university and communities through research, legislation, and advocacy in accordance with the core values of our institution. The NAGI does not lie, cheat, or steal, or tolerate those who do.
Now enter a period of the singing of the Spirit of Aguilar.
Some neighborhoods out of the school living program. There's a spirit, it's the spirit of life. We are the it's that to each other. We got to fight. We got to fight. We got to fight for blue and white. Stay on us. They will come and join us. We put the advice. That's the lead.
Please be seated. We'll now move into a period of the swearing in of our new senators. If you are a new senator, please come down to the floor. You all please rise. Again, apologies.
I state your name,
I, Megan Lyons,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to faithfully execute to the best of my abilities
to faithfully execute to the best of my abilities
the duties of the office of, state your office,
the duties of the office of freshman senator
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
to uphold the honor of the same,
to uphold the honor of the same,
and at all times to protect the welfare of the student body,
and at all times to protect the welfare of the student body,
and to promote good relations
and to promote good relations
between the students and those concerned with the university.
between the students and those concerned with the university.
For clarification, I sent our fish aides, Brogan and Andrew, away because they are going to be confirmed as ex officio officers, which is a different process. And that's to come. But we'll now move into a period of open forum. Person Cole, please. Starting with Senator McHugh on behalf of the Core Values Ad Hoc Committee and himself.
Howdy.
Howdy.
So I actually have two announcements. The first one, headshots are getting close to being done. If you want to come and see your headshot, yeah, I'm really excited. If you want to come and see your headshot, I'm working on them throughout the meeting back there. You can come, make sure I chose the right one for you. You can also purchase them there. So if you want your headshot for personal use, LinkedIn, social media, whatever it is, just $25. You can see me in the back of the room. Second one is much more exciting. The second one is about the Core Values Ad Hoc Committee. So I've been asked to lead the Core Values Ad Hoc Committee, and I'm really excited about it. It's going to be something that's really cool. Basically, earlier in the session, we passed a bill that dedicated each month of this year, this session, to being a different core value of Aggieland, to showcasing a different core value of Aggieland. And so what this committee is going to be doing is finding special Aggies who have excelled in different areas that reflect these core values. And we're going to find those Aggies and we're going to recognize them and we're going to hold them up as examples. And so if you'd like to join that committee, if you'd like to be a part of that committee, you can come find me, come talk to me. You can shoot me a text at any time. My information is on the contact list. I'm also sitting back there.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for our, yes, Chair Banks?
Chair Banks, I do encourage. Do you have any prior experience with recognizing Aggies, such as maybe another student organization or something kind of along those lines?
I'm glad you asked. So I have actually been starting a student organization along with some friends, including Hannah, called Aggie Faces. Aggie Faces is a really cool organization that I'm excited about. Because what it's going to be doing is working to connect Aggieland, to unify Aggieland. That's its goal. Its purpose is to make Aggies feel special. Its purpose is to make Aggies feel connected. And so what we've been doing so far is we've been going across campus and interviewing Aggies, just random Aggies, anyone walking by, getting their story, getting their picture, and then putting that on Instagram so that everyone can share their story and maybe relate to them. That organization is something that I'm hoping is going to grow a lot. It's something that I'm hoping that we can expand a lot. We're in the process of putting together a team to make it even bigger, including podcasts, videos, blogs, events, all sorts of cool stuff. If you'd like to be a part of that, you can also come and find me or Hannah, and we'll talk to you about that.
Thank you, Chairman Go.
Chairman of Student Services, have you found someone to recognize for this month?
Not quite yet. I'm hoping to put that together with the committee once we have the committee.
Any further questions for Senator McHugh? Seeing none, thank you. We'll now recognize AHA Gillette and Hannah Spur on behalf of SGA Outreach.
Howdy.
Howdy.
So Hannah and I have been putting together a system for SGA outreach. So as members of SGA, it's important that the student body is informed about what we're doing and what exactly we do. And so with that, we'd like to open up the opportunity to encourage y'all to come speak at different organizations' meetings. And so we created a folder that we'll share with y'all. But basically, it's going to be an Excel sheet that has all different organizations that already have agreed to have us come speak to them. And there will be the meeting times on there, so there should be something that works for you. There'll be a script in there that y'all can go off and should have everything you need to know.
Yeah, so this is something that kind of went out along with Ag Input, but then AJ reached out to me. We were going to make this kind of a joint thing for all of SGA. But basically, you should know, like, if you do go and speak with an organization or on behalf of SGA, you can earn back an absence. If you have to take that up with me, you'll need to let me know that you're going to go speak for an organization, and then we can give you back your absence. That's about it. If y'all have any questions, y'all can reach out to me. reach out to AJ. I know we already have probably 10 people on the list to go speak to, at least within like the next few weeks. So definitely looking for that further, and I'll send out an email when that's shared with y'all.
Thank you.
Y'all have any questions?
Do you have any questions for our presenters? Seeing none, thank you guys. We'll now recognize Mr. Saeed on behalf of the class of 2023. You have 5 minutes.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy,
everybody.
My name is Fawaz Said, and I want to make a little bit clear, I'm representing myself on behalf of me, but I am the freshman class president. I learned about the SB 7216 yesterday, so I had some concerns that I wanted to bring up. After having read the Chancellor John Sharp's vaping memorandum, I saw that the Chancellor is placing in effect a vaping ban. And I hope that by bringing up some facts, the senators will, y'all senators, will consider them when voting for SR 7216. First, the Chancellor claims that as a result of electronic cigarettes, we are facing a serious health risk that we are just beginning to understand, citing the Center for Disease Control and Prevention's report of the 800 cases of lung injury and 12 deaths in the U.S. While the Chancellor states that the one element that is common in these cases is a history of e-cigarette product use or vaping, he does fail to mention that the CDC also stated that 77% of the 514 patients that self-reported said that they were using THC-containing products. This substance is currently a felony to possess in the state of Texas, so it is already illegal. When the CDC uses the word vaping, it is not exclusively referring to nicotine e-cigarettes. Furthermore, the CDC's official press release clearly states that the investigation regarding the cases is ongoing and the cause remains unknown at this time, so there is no official report connecting e-cigarettes to the health cases we are seeing. The official CDC report also, these reports and press releases are important to mention because the reasoning used to ban vaping on every inch of Texas A&M is inaccurate and portrayed incorrectly. However, studies have shown that nicotine e-cigarettes can still be harmful for the body and causes users to become addicted. If users are becoming addicted to a substance, however, banning the substance is not going to help create a realistic solution. In other words, I think that banning vaping will not prevent students from actually vaping. Instead, the issue is going to be hidden away as students will most likely continue to vape indoors, in dorms or bathrooms. And one result that I could see of this is increased fire alarms causing more inconvenience for residents. Instead, I believe the university should be focusing on advertising their student services for quitting addiction. That way students know that there are services for them on campus to quit nicotine. And this way students will be more willing to talk about their addiction and seek solutions. I believe that if the student government was to work with university officials to use other methods to promote curbing addiction, a real impact could be made. For example, we could create a way to work with student health services to come out to NSCs, to talk about the services A&M offers from freshmen up to curb addictions. And in fact, we can also expand the services that A&M offers. If there are senators here that feel that more research needs to be done, I hope that they consider a motion to table this resolution until further information is known about what support is being given. And otherwise, I hope that the facts can help guide them on the decision when they pass this, whether or not they pass this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to move into a period of question and answer, starting with Chairman Gill.
Chairman Gill, Student Services, I would just want to say that I really appreciate your comments. Very beneficial for everyone in the room to hear. Would you recommend, or in your personal opinion, do you think that we should just not say anything at all about this, or should we condone Chancellor Sharp's?
I actually, I think that there should be more of a condoning for this amendment. One reason for that is because I personally think that it was part of a good marketing plan. This is because, as y'all probably saw, it was all over the news. It spread through headlines like crazy. And in addition, A&M already had a plan actually to ban tobacco. At first, they didn't announce that when they announced the vaping ban. I believe the reason they did that was, again, to create the headlines, Texas A&M is banning vaping. and it makes me question how much they were considering student health.
Chair Banks.
Chair Banks, thank you. Do you believe that there should be more clinical research done on the effects of e-cigarette use before addressing action program?
Yes, definitely. One of the things that I was looking at was, again, the CDC report, which has not made it clear how nicotine is actually connected to these 800 cases. In fact, as I was saying, that most of the cases are related to THC. And so the vaping ban needs more information before making such a decision.
SVP Gillette.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Wanted to say, great job speaking tonight. I think that's awesome that you're up here. Question though, where did you get the information that the tobacco ban was already going to be set in place prior to?
News reports came out recently in the past 3 days. Again, that's why I was saying that if senators need more time to look at the information, they thought they were looking to get a $20,000, the Texas A&M University system was looking to get a $20,000 grant in order to ban cigarettes. They started that in the summer, and they received that grant. That grant money is to be used to put up signs. However, I was also looking at some of the consequences of the ban, and it seems that they're not clearly identified as to what they're going to be doing. So again, it makes me question what their intentions are and how they're going to be actually helping student health.
Thank you. Do you have any further questions? Yes. Senator Garcia.
Senator Garcia, off-campus caucus. So recently there was also some information about how the National Institute for Health funded some research on e-cigarettes, and it was found that in like 70% of mice, it caused lung cancer. I do agree that tobacco should also be banned on campus, but were you aware of that research?
I have not seen that research yet because I was looking at the CDC reports.
Thank you.
Any further question for our presenter? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Finally, we'll recognize Suyash Gupta on behalf of the Operations Committee.
All right, howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
So per the code, based on like efficiency and operations, we can kind of implement changes that have to do with making Senate more efficient, operating smoothly. And so with the help of Senator Resendez, we were actually able to create this legislation sponsor form. Can you click the little I? Yeah. And so essentially just to kind of make time go by faster, we've checked the code and everything else seems okay as right now. And so per the current code, we are going to implement this sponsorship form. And so basically what that would look like is, let's say there's a resolution or a bill up on the screen and we're talking about it, period of debate begins. Debate against, you still have to make your debate against, and then you have to say, your name and caucus, and then introduce your motion, move to add the amendment. And if there's more than like 5 people that are interested in being a sponsor for a resolution or a bill, we're going to use this sponsor form. And so it's located in the Senator Resources folder. And the way it works is, like on the operations side, the bill authors are also going to be informed of who has filled this out. And the top 15 people, according to timestamp, are going to be added. And before the meeting is over, we will confirm with the bill authors on who is being added to the bill. And so we just wanted to kind of let you guys know. It's currently in there if you want to go test it out. But yeah, does anybody have any questions on how it works? Yeah.
Yes, Senator Wood.
Senator Wood, College Engineering. Will those people, so like say someone doesn't get chosen to sponsor, like go on and decide, will they be notified?
Yes.
Any further questions for Senator Gupta? Seeing none, thank you.
Thanks.
With that, that concludes the period of open forum. We'll now move into a period of consideration of the approval of the 10/2/2019 meeting minutes. Do I see any objection to the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor of passing the minutes as written, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? That passes. With that, we'll now move into, do I see a motion?
Executive Director Duke to operations on a motion.
Please state your motion.
I move to deviate from the agenda and open a period of swearing in of ex officio officers.
Seeing multiple seconds. All those in favor of deviating from the current agenda to consider the confirmations of ex officio officers, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? That passes. If you would please come down to the floor, officiates. As they travel down to the floor, per the code, this does have to be a 2/3 voice vote confirmation. And so we will begin with that process. And so I will give both Brogan and Andrew a minute to introduce themselves and the role that they will play as officiates for Senate, just briefly.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
My name is Andrew Sarabia. I'm here from Fish Aids, and I plan to work on the operations committee with Sue Yash after you.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
My name is Brogan Gunya, and like Andrew, I'm a freshman on Fish Aids, and we'll be around just getting to learn about the different roles that you guys have and like the ins and outs of fighting bills and stuff like that. And yeah, we're just here to learn and to help.
Awesome. And they've already been great resources, and they've met with myself as well as a few chairs and Pro Tem Cole and ex-officio and Senator Gupta, who started as officiate. So with that, we'll now consider their confirmation. Again, it's 2/3. All in favor of confirming both Andrew and Brogan to be ex officio officers in the Student Senate, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? That passes. Thank you. If you guys will all please rise.
I state your name.
I, Brogan Gunya,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to faithfully execute to the best of my abilities
to faithfully execute to the best of my abilities
the duties of the office of, state your office,
the duties of the office of Fish Aids
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
for the Texas A&M University Student Government Association,
to uphold the honor of the same
to uphold the honor of the same
at all times to protect the welfare of the student body
at all times to protect the student welfare
and to promote good relations between the students and those concerned with the university.
And to promote the student relations of those.
And to promote the good relations
And to
promote the good relations
between the students and those concerned with the university.
between the students and those concerned with the university.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll now move into a period of new business, starting with SR 7216, the support for Chancellor John Sharp's ban on electric cigarettes and vaping resolution. If the bill authors and sponsors would please come down to the floor. Give 10 minutes to
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
So a couple of weeks ago, the Chancellor of Texas A&M University banned all use of electronic cigarettes and vaping on campus, on all Texas A&M campuses. And we're just going to go through a quick run through. On October 1st, 2019, Texas A&M University Chancellor John Sharp has banned smoking electronic cigarettes on all Texas A&M campuses. And the Centers for Disease Control has reported that it is aware of more than 800 cases of lung injury and 12 deaths have had a history of electronic cigarette use. And the Texas A&M student was hospitalized and spent days in the internal care unit due to smoking electronic cigarettes and stated that it's horrible for you and that he came very close to death. Therefore, let it be resolved that the 72nd session of the Student Senate expresses its support for Chancellor John Sharp's ban on vaping on all Texas A&M campuses, and the 72nd session of the Student Senate recognizes that Chancellor John Sharp's action and efforts to reduce vaping on campus is an important step to protect student health and well-being. And the 72nd session of the Student Senate would like to emphasize the dangers of vaping set forth by the public health experts. And the 72nd session of the Student Senate encourages students who currently use electronic cigarettes to seek resources to stop vaping. And a copy of this resolution be sent to these people. and we're open to questions.
Thank you. Do I see any questions for our presenters? Yes, sooner.
Sarah Ahmed on Campus Caucus. Would you guys be open to maybe listing some of those resources and like adding them to the Okay.
Do you have any?
I'd still like
Please
to
limit it
look
back and
into
forth. Permission to back?
Yeah.
Yes. go
First,
ahead.
I'm looking into it so I can like get back to you on which resources are like on campus because they do have to like addictive resources to help people stop with addictions.
Senator Trustclair?
Senator Trostler on campus, are you aware of what Chancellor Sharp's policy of enforcing this is going to be?
So he sent out, do you guys have his verbal statement? Or
We do not have it pulled up. We can try and Google it if you'd like.
I don't have it, but
just working in the College of Engineering, I think it's been mostly just kind of set, like working as a TA in College of Engineering. We were told to, if we saw it in class, tell the students to stop, and if they didn't stop, we would take it from there. That hopefully isn't going to be a problem. The thought is that in theory, campus police and security would be much more.
I'll put you back at the end. Executive Director Gupta.
Director Gupta Operations, have you guys personally done research on vaping and consumption of nicotine through vaping devices? And have you guys kind of weighed both the benefits and the cons?
Yeah, like I personally looked through it, and it's just the thing is it's already made illegal in the state of Texas, and it's just a matter of you're saying that hey, there's a risk associated with this. Are we willing to take this risk when we're not even? What benefits are we going to get with allowing Aggies to smoke on campus? Like we can, that's something that I feel like the risks are just too much to. The consequences, the negative consequences are just too high in order to take that risk. And
Chairman Gill.
Chair Gill, Student Services. Permission to purchase.
Briefly.
Did you just say that vaping in state Texas is illegal? I believe that is what you said, and that's actually incorrect. So I mean, when we think about the student body, those who have to live on campus, those who do live on campus, we think, okay, if they're 21 years old and they have a roommate that's 21 or they don't do it at all, they're allowed to drink because this is their home. Okay, so now we're saying that they can't vape on campus. Okay, I mean, it's not illegal in the state of Texas. Now it is the law, you have to be 21 to do so, but it is not illegal again. So I mean, to say that you cannot vape in your own home, I'm not sure that I understand that. I was to see what your thoughts were on that.
oh yeah, so I misspoke. I meant illegal as in it's illegal before the age of 21. Like that's being like it's a new law. That's what I meant. And then yeah, I understand where you're saying that it's your home, so you should be able to practice freely what you want to do, but. Again, we've seen cases linked to vaping and the negative effects that come with that. And, regardless of whether that's THC, whether that's the nicotine, like it's something that's linked and it shows it's something that's affected an Aggie at A&M. And if one of our core values is respect, there's also secondhand smoking and, people can be affected by it. So it's like we are setting out a message as a campus that we don't support anything that can, damage our health. We also have a health committee forming in Senate, if I'm correct. I'm not sure about that. But I mean, that's what I guess we're aiming for something like that to happen, right? So it's something that we should work towards, and I think that it's important.
And to follow up on, to kind of piggyback off that, just because it's legal doesn't make it necessarily a great thing. There's not a ton of research, but what some research we have is pointing to that it's an unsafe thing. And I don't think anyone here is saying that this is a safe thing to do. 10 years ago, this month, I lost my grandfather because of a chemical that they thought was safe or that he wasn't told was safe, we call it asbestos. There's a precaution that we can take to help the future Aggies, to help our people here who may be doing something that they're addicted to and that they don't necessarily understand all the risks that they're taking. And if we, through our wisdom of our public health officials, can force them to make the right decisions or to at least be a little bit more informed about what they're doing, then it doesn't make sense to, circumvent that.
I'll put you at the end. The chair would like to make a few points, and one being that the letter that you recommended we put up has put on the screen. You guys can also Google this. And as to where the enforcement is as of now, I would like to recommend someone possibly recommending an amendment to change where it says Texas A&M to Texas A&M University System, because this was a system policy that was put on all the system campuses, as you all mentioned. And as of now, I believe your idea is to get the sentiment of the student body out because the enforcement piece has not yet been decided. And so the enforcement policy, as well as other specifics for Texas A&M University and not just system whole, is still being talked about. So again, it was something that the system brought down to the university, as you guys mentioned. But with that, I recognize Senator Jeffers.
Senator Jeffers, Engineering Caucus. Vaping is used as a form of harm reduction to current smokers. It is much quote-unquote healthier alternative than smoking tobacco cigarettes. And it's used as part of smoking cessation, which means that they're going from smoking cigarettes to none at all. And vaping is very effective at this when used properly. So this will have a negative impact on those efforts for smoking cessation and harm reduction.
I personally don't think it's successful because vaping also contains nicotine, so you're just replacing one addiction with the other. I think that if you're gonna quit smoking, it's better.
Yes, Chair Banks.
Chair Banks, I don't care if I'm doing two, so I'm fair question.
Seeing multiple seconds, all in favor of extending the period of question and answer by 5 minutes, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? That passes. Please continue.
Yeah, so if you're gonna just replace one addiction with the other, it's safer to not have to depend on something else at all. Although it's not that easy, but there are alternatives. Instead of fueling your one addiction, like fueling a alternative that can be just as harmful, or not just as harmful, but has been proven to be very harmful.
To follow up with that, more and more young students and individuals in high school and middle school are being prone to a nicotine addiction, and that is harmful to brain development. And studies have shown that as well.
Push back at the end. Senator Hardison.
Senator Hardison, off-campus conference. I do understand the health consequences of vaping, but my question is, do you believe that it is within the university's domain of power constitutionally to restrict what people are intaking into their bodies?
I think honestly it is to a certain degree. If we can promote health on campus, there are certain standards we take in everything in safety. We have certain laws, we have certain things that we abide by. Even, at A&M, we were told how to act morally in a certain way too with our, our core values. That is kind of it's more of a personal thing where we consider ourselves to be the Aggie family. So we consider ourselves to look out for each other's health. And I think that it's fair to be in the jurisdiction of the university to, if they see something has a clear negative effect and an Aggie has been personally affected by it, I think it's fair for them to take a stand on it.
Chairman Joe.
Chairman Gill, Student Services. So looking at this, and I completely understand your health aspect, things like that. Honestly, the food options on this campus, what we eat, what we put into our bodies, that's gonna kill more people in this room usually than doing something illegal like doing THC. So I mean, we're not forcing you to follow the food pyramid or the microwave, whatever it is now. I mean, we're not telling you what to eat, because it's gonna save your life in the long run, whether or not you choose to eat what we eat. So why are we focusing our resources and our efforts and our time towards this for a very small percentage of people when we have much bigger issues and much more hot topics on campus that are going to affect the lives and the lifestyles of these students?
So if it is affecting a small population, then even focusing on our efforts on just that small population, it shouldn't really use up all of our resources, right? Because if you're saying that, okay, hypothetically, there's only 5 people affected by it, well, if you're only needing to serve to those 5 people, then you're not really using much of your resources. And in terms of other health areas, like I can see your point of view where you're saying that, yeah, like, you know, there can be, you know, unhealthy eating, which can maybe impact more people. And over the lifetime, the consequences could be more severe, right? But I don't think it's a fair comparison to say unhealthy eating can be comparable to vaping, which the effects are very, they can be very dangerous and within a short period of time. Same with unhealthy eating, obviously, but that's not within like 2 days you're gonna like develop something. And so, also, it's just like, it's why would we take the risk when we've already seen that there's harmful consequences? Why would we make it to where we need to get to that point where we would have to devote so many resources? Like, if we're trying to safeguard ourselves from getting to that point, wouldn't that be better? Like, it's just, I feel like it's worth it to devote some resources, and I don't think it's too costly. And it's something that the chancellor is okay with devoting resources. So he's probably looked at our budgets. He's probably seen like, okay, yeah, like he's probably done a cost analysis of, you know, really how much is this on our campus? How much do we need to be, you know, devoting our resources towards it? And I think he has a more holistic view of it. But of course, we have our own personal, you know, opinions. So I respect that.
Question follow up.
Briefly.
Are you aware that Chancellor Sharp actually has no intentions of enforcing this? And KBTX interview or report those just 2 days ago, actually. There's actually no plan in state to actually enforce this. It was just letting us know that we probably shouldn't be doing this.
I'm not really sure what you mean by like there's no plan. I mean,
I'll forward it to you.
okay, because like, I mean, I think there is a plan. Like, he may be in the works of how exactly to execute this. I mean, that's something I guess the plan is that he's banning vaping, right? Like, that is his plan. You may say that, okay, there's no, in your eyes, there's no concrete plan as to what steps are specifically being taken. But again, like Senator Martin said, like, you know, they do obviously have a plan. That's why it's being restricted. Like, if there was no plan, how would this be implemented on their side?
Also, I believe, and you can check me up on this, but several students were kicked out of the Alabama game for vaping.
So it's not back and forth.
In a similar way that it's against the rules. They, like, I see this in many ways as like how it's already like you can only smoke in certain areas of campus. You know, people are vaping constantly everywhere. So yeah, I think it's gonna end up kind of coming down more to building proctors. But definitely would love to see the, you know, message.
Chair Banks.
Howdy, Chair. So given that most of the research kind of indicates that, you know, while vaping isn't necessarily good for us, you know, it is more healthy than smoking cigarettes and things like that. Why is the resolution focused mainly on, or almost exclusively having the wording on the vaping ban and not the total move to a tobacco-free campus, of which the vaping ban is?
So like, I agree with you. Like, we can definitely include it into that too. I think the reason was just because there was a step taken, like, by obviously the chancellor. So we wanted to acknowledge the step he took. But that doesn't mean that just because we acknowledge one step, we can't acknowledge another, right? So that's definitely something that we can look into. We can work on a resolution for that too. But if you can consider that, you know, smoking cigarettes can have a negative consequence and there should be a resolution on that, then I don't think this really falls behind. And there really should be some type of, at least consideration from our part. Like, even if we choose not to pass this resolution, we're all really saying as a Senate body that we really do believe that it's the best decision for allowing, you know, or I guess supporting that all Aggies should be able to vape on campus, you know, and that comes with consequences as well as allowing it for for it to be banned. So I guess it's just a decision you have to really think about.
Senator Jeffers.
So I found the Senator Jeffers Engineering Caucus. So I found the interview Senator Gill was talking about. The Chief Wellness Officer, Jay Maddock, said, quote, just gently remind them of the policies that is not allowed. It's more about education than enforcement. So I'm interpreting that as there is no punishment for it. Do you think there should be?
I mean, I personally honestly, I like it that if it's more education-based and more punishment-based, because that really allows people the opportunity
1 minute remains.
to quit it on kind of their own terms and to not be so fearful if they even do it, or if they're, if they're wanting to quit it, they can do it in like a university that recognizes that this is something we wouldn't want for you and for your health, but we support the way you would be able to stop that.
30 seconds remaining. Senator Trustclair. With 30 seconds remaining, do I see any further questions for our presenters? Seeing none, thank you guys. That now concludes our period of question and answer, and with that, we'll move into a period of debate, starting with debate against. Do I see debate against? Motion? Yes, Senator Banks.
Chair Banks, Academic Affairs, I move to refer this resolution to the Student Services Committee because that's where the public health subcommittee is.
Seeing multiple seconds. All in favor of referring SR 7216, the support for Chancellor John Sharp's ban on electric cigarettes and vaping resolution, to the Student Services Committee, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Division has been called. All opposed, please rise. Please be seated. That passes. With that, SR 7216 will now be referred to the Student Services Committee. And with that, we will move into a period of the reading of SB 7205, proposed legislation proofreading bill. If the bill authors and sponsors would please come down to the floor.
Yeah, every sponsor down here. Pretty good. Chair Berger, Rules and Regulations. Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
All right, so as you can see, half the room is up here with me, and we are going to be proposing the proposed legislation proofreading bill. And so essentially what this is, it's a bill to maintain the quality of proposed legislation. And so I'm just going to dive right into it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Whereas many bills are proposed each year to alter the Student Government Association code, and oftentimes these bill authors overlook the proper formatting of amendments of this nature. And whereas these unintentional mistakes make code revisions very difficult and can lead to lack of proper understanding from the Rules and Regulations Chair when inputting amendments into the Student Government Association code. Therefore, let it be enacted that Title 3, Chapter 1A, Article 6, Section 5 of the Student Government Association Code be amended by inserting the following words between subsections F and G. So that it reads, all legislation which could potentially alter or modify the code in any way must be sent to the Rules and Regulations Chair for proofreading prior to its first reading on the Senate floor. The Rules and Regulations Chair will not have the ability to modify the content of the bill. And a copy of this bill be sent to myself. Are there any questions?
Do I see any questions for Chair Berger? Yes, Senator Martin.
Senator Martin, off campus, in what ways do you think this would help you as opposed to how the committee system currently works, where it's required to be read, amended, and voted upon by the committee?
I think the main way that this is going to help me out is a lot of committees, when they're looking at it, aren't looking strictly at formatting. And I think actually this bill itself is a great example of that, because it's actually not a bill, it's an act. And I made the mistake of not putting act on it and putting a bill because I didn't proofread it. And had I proofread it, had I sent it to myself and proofread it, I probably would have caught that. That's why I did eventually catch it. And we're going to entertain an amendment to fix that in a minute. But yeah, a problem a lot of the time is that people will just kind of send what they want the code to read as, and they don't tell me where it is in the code. They don't actually like cite what specific title, chapter, article, whatever, or they'll just start with like Article 4, Section C, subsection. But there are so many articles that I have no idea which one you're talking about, and so I'm sitting there going through 245 pages of code just saying, I'm pretty sure this is the one they want to modify, but I'm not entirely certain. Control F doesn't work if you don't show me what it used to say, if you just show me what you want it to say, because those words don't exist yet in there. And that's a big part of why the code's not entirely updated still, because I wasn't the rules and regulations chair in the past, and I was under the impression that it was going to be updated before I got it, and so I wasn't paying attention to every single thing passed in my session. So everything that I'm having to put in, I'm either having to interpret how they wanted it put in, or I'm just kind of lost and trying to get in contact with the bill author, who more often than not is no longer in college. So that's pretty tough, seeing as my only point of contact is there and an email that no longer exists.
Any further questions for, yes? Senator
Senator Martin off campus. So just, would you be also willing to, like, when you say prior to, that could mean I send it to you right before open session starts? Would you be willing to set that to a certain amount of time? Like, do you want it the day before, or do you want to get rid of all open session bills?
No, I don't. And I wouldn't be opposed to, at least, I mean, we could make it before second reading, that way, 24 hours before second reading at the very least, that way, because open session, it's still gonna have a second reading. I think that would be really effective. I appreciate you catching that.
Any further questions for our presenters? Seeing none, thank you guys. And with that, I'll send this bill to the Rules and Regulations Committee. We'll now go into a period of the reading of SB 7206, the Senator Sponsorship Reform Bill. If the bill authors and sponsors will please come down to the floor. 10 minutes to have.
All right, howdy Senate.
Howdy.
So basically, this bill kind of, it's been like in the talks, but we wanted to present it because there's a lot of opinions on this issue, and we really encourage you guys to come up to the Rules and Regulations meeting if it's sent to that committee, so we can kind of hear what you guys think about this issue. But we're gonna go ahead and like go through the bill. But essentially what this bill is changing the code so it reads that the number of authors and sponsors on the title page of any piece of legislation shall not exceed 10. If desired, an addendum of additional sponsors may be attached to any piece of legislation. Such an addendum may include the signatures of the legislative sponsors that shall be desired by the sponsors.
Yeah, I mean, so the reason we wanted to do this was just because there's a lot of times whenever we have a mostly resolution list of a bill, but like something that a lot of us feel really strongly about, and we want to all put our names on. So like the main thing that like brought this to my attention was like for the silver tax resolutions, it would be really cool if all 80 of us had our names on there and we all signed it and sent it to the families, because that would mean a lot. Or if we were trying to send something to like the not this here, because we're not really in session, but to like the Texas legislature, and we wanted like if we all agreed on something. Which if we all want to put our names on there and all sign, we could all send it. And so like this just gives us the ability to do that. We put, technically it's already in the code where you can add an addendum, but, and I mentioned that this slide earlier, but we've been ignoring it because it's kind of weird, it's vaguely worded, and we don't know how to implement it. So this is really just telling us how we can implement it.
And Bobby, could you scroll down to further enacted 3? And so this is where we have it said, the author gets the final say of what sponsors are able to be added on the bill. And some people, like I might be working on a bill that I take a lot of pride, put a lot of effort in, and I might not want like anyone or like a ton of people to sponsor. It might be something that we as a small team are really proud of. If that's the case, then I have the final say of like limiting who can sponsor this bill on the floor.
And it's not just actually, it says not who can set the sponsors. It's who can set the sponsors on the title page.
Yeah.
So who's on the front page of it? And that's just, as if we all 80, I don't want people rushing to like get it. If there was someone that we accidentally left out and they needed to be added, but they worked really hard on the bill, we want to make sure that they can be put on like the front page of it. But it's like, and then we'll put the rest of the 70 on the back, on the addendum page. But that's just kind of, yeah, and I think they might have taken it on.
But the addendum page, basically, it looks like at the top, it says addendum right underneath where the letterhead is printed. And then it says further sponsored by, and that's where you got your name, topics.
Do you have any questions for our presenters? Seeing none, this bill will also be sent to the Rules and Regulations Committee. Thank you, guys. And with that now concludes our period of new business. We'll move into a period of open session. Do I see any legislation for open session? Yes. Senator Banks. Chair Banks.
Chair Banks, Academic Affairs, I have a resolution for open session.
Please state your title.
The Helpline Awareness Week resolution.
Seeing multiple seconds, if the authors and sponsors would like to come down to the floor, please.
All right. Chair Banks, Academic Affairs, Howdy Senate.
Howdy.
So somebody I know within Helpline reached out to me after the last meeting. So their awareness week is coming up next week, Thursday the 21st. And I spoke with them. I really didn't know much about what Helpline did before I met with them. So I gained a little bit of insight. So they run a fully staffed helpline for Aggies between the hours of 4 p.m. to 8 a.m. all 5 weekdays, and then all 48 hours on weekends. So if you'll indulge me a little bit, I did a little bit of math. That's 3,800 man hours over the course of the semester that are completely volunteer hours by students who are just doing this so that everybody has somebody to talk to at all times. I actually work with the Aggie recovery community right now. I volunteer for them doing logistics, and they're a community that community of recovering Aggies who have struggled with substance abuse. And some of the members have told me that Helpline has really been a huge resource for them. So when I met with this person in Helpline, they told me that one of their main goals they're looking for right now is awareness. Because even though their number is on the back of all of our student IDs, still a lot of people don't know about Helpline. I've talked to several senators today where I was like, hey, what do you think about Helpline? They said, well, what's that? Right? So their main thing is awareness. They want to make sure that everybody knows that they're there to talk to if you ever really need somebody in this real emergency. So I just wrote up this resolution. They asked me to write up this resolution for them, so I'm just going to read through it real quick. Whereas Helpline provides a call service for Aggies from 4 p.m. to 8 a.m. on weekdays and 24 hours on weekends. And Helpline staffers are unpaid volunteers who dedicate their time to help Aggies. And Aggies can call the helpline number 979-845-2700, located on the back of their student ID at any time for any reason. And that Helpline Awareness Week takes place the week of October 21st. Therefore, let it be resolved that the 72nd session of the Student Senate thanks Helpline and its volunteers for all they do for the Aggie community. And that the Student Senate recognizes the week of October 21st as Helpline Awareness Week. And that the Student Senate encourages Aggies who need somebody to talk to call the helpline number 979-845-2700, located on the back of their student ID. Myself and some of the other chairs are also still looking at ways that we can engage with them and help promote their awareness. Chair McGill actually reached out to them and had a conversation with them, and she's working on some stuff with them as well. So I think this is an organization that does a lot of good and is looking to get their name out there. So I think that it's the least we can do to help them out with this resolution. With that, I yield my time to the floor.
Thank you. We'll now enter a period of question and answer. Do we see any questions for our presenters? Seeing none, thank you guys. With that, seeing as it is a resolution and will be voted on this evening, we'll now move into a period of debate. Do I see any debate against this resolution? Seeing none. We'll now move into a period of voting. All those in favor of passing SR 16, the Helpline Awareness Week resolution, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? That passes. Do I see any further legislation for open session? Yes, Senator.
Senator Newman, College of Agriculture and Life Sciences. I have a piece of legislation for open session.
Please state your title.
Cottonseed resolution. Hold on, I need the pro temp email.
Seeing the pro temp was protemp.samuelson@gmail.com. And seeing multiple seconds, if the authors and sponsors would like to come down to the floor.
All right, well, howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
I have more than half the Senate floor, so it's more than heavens. So this is the Cottonseed resolution. It's a resolution to show appreciation for the FDA approval of edible cottonseed. All right. Whereas October 16th, 2019 today is World Food Day, and the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has approved ultra-low gospel cottonseed, ULGCS, to be utilized as human food and an animal feed, something technical for nearly 25 years. And this is only the 5th university-developed genetically engineered crop in the last 25 years in the United States, and the first by a Texas university. Therefore, let it be resolved, number one, the strides in the disciplines of agriculture and life sciences do not go unnoticed at Texas A&M University, and let it be further resolved, Texas A&M University has continually proven that it is a leader in agriculture for the state of Texas and the United States, and let it be further resolved, the Student Senate of Texas A&M University shows its appreciation for Texas A&M AgriLife, the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, and Dr. Kirti Rathore in their diligent efforts to better the lives of people around the globe, and let it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to Chancellor John Sharp, Dr. Patrick Stover, Dean of the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, Dr. Kirti Rathore, and the battalion.
Thank you. We'll now begin a period of question and answer with Chairman Gill.
Chairman Gill, Student Services, are you aware that cottonseed's been eligible for animal feed for several decades now?
Yes, ma'am, but this is edible for human consumption now, and that was just approved, so.
Question to follow up.
Briefly.
When you scroll up, please, you specifically point out for human and an animal feed. So would you be willing to take an amendment to remove and an animal feed?
I'd be willing to, but it's both human food and animal feed, and I took that from an article from Texas A&M Today as well. So I feel like that's important as well because this specific strain, cottonseed as well. So I'd be open to an amendment. That's why we're here, but yeah, I feel like it's a solid resolution as read.
And if I might add, the toxicity levels in gospel were only tolerated by animals with a ruminant digestive system. So any monogastric animal, like pigs, they couldn't eat it beforehand. Now it's a potential feed product for them. To use dehulled cottonseed meal to actually add protein value to their feed. There's really a lot of protein value that can be added with that. I think it's 10.8 trillion grams that was unused because we couldn't feed humans or monogastrics with cottonseed meal just because of the high levels of toxicity in gospel. And so it is a huge benefit to both humans and animals. And while it was previously an animal feed option, it's now a larger option in the field of animal feed.
I can send you one.
Senator Trustler.
Thank you, Senator Trostler on campus. For those of us who are not agricultural majors, cottonseed oil and how do you use it?
Okay, so it's both cottonseed and cottonseed oil back at the ranch for cottonseed. Cattle ruminants. For my show heifers, I'd do cottonseed. to drop more belly on. It's just an extra protein source as well. But now being a food source, it just adds more protein to the diet. Cottonseed oil, you do a lot of things with that as well. Okay.
Thank you, Senator Jeffers. Senator Pauls.
Senator Paul off campus, so I was just wondering, why was cottonseed not accepted? Why was it made legal? So I would say.
Right, and that goes back a little bit to what Evan was saying up here. Cottonseed was only able to be digested by ruminant animals, animals that have 4 compartments in their stomach. Okay, we as humans, as well as other monogastric animals such as horses, hogs, we couldn't digest it. Do it.
We'll have one part in our stomach.
Yes, yeah, we only have 1 compartment in our stomach, so we couldn't digest and use this as a protein source. Okay, and levels of toxicity would be too high. So that's why it's important, and not sure why, but levels of toxicity. If you want.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I took a class in it, in the soil and crop science department. It was actually a really cool perspective to gain. We actually had a guest speaker come in and talk about this last semester. And so essentially gossypol is a incredibly toxic compound that naturally grows in cotton plants, and the reason it naturally grows in them, it is a first line of biological defense against predators, kind of like how milkweed plants are poisonous. It's kind of the same thing. So the reason that polygastric or ruminant animals could consume this is because since they do have multi-chambered stomachs, in that first chamber in the rumen, a lot of fermentation occurs there, and during that fermentation process, it breaks down a lot of proteins, and it actually takes gossypol and breaks it down to a point where it's no longer toxic to that animal. And so essentially what Dr. Authority and his team have done is through muting the genes that cause gossypol to grow in the actual cotton seed, which is where the majority of protein is actually found. Basically, they actually were able to heighten gossypol production in the leaves and stems, so that it still does have its natural defense against predators. It doesn't take anything away from there. But now the seeds are edible for human consumption because they are ultra low in gossypol content.
I like to piggyback off of that.
We're nerd now.
Yeah, we're nerd now. So the significance of this is not really found just in the United States alone. We are such a developed country that we don't rely on a lot of crop as our big economic push or boom, even though it's $1 billion industry. We look at underdeveloped countries.
1 minute remaining.
And you look at plants such as cotton, which provides fiber for clothes we wear. But now out of that one plant, they not only have clothing, but they have a food source. You know, we take food for granted on a regular basis. For a country that they need something to clothe themselves, something to feed themselves.
Yes.
Chair Wilson says I need to submit your question and answer by 2 minutes.
Seeing multiple seconds. All of those in favor of extending the period of question and answer by 2 minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Yay.
That passes. Please continue.
Division? No.
Division must be called before the gavel. Please continue.
That's all I have to say.
Yes, that's what you like.
Permission to preface.
Briefly.
Really good work. Like you said, I think this really drives home the fact that this is bigger than Texas A&M with the whole world. I was wondering if you could send a copy of this to the Texas Tribune. I think it's something I'd like to see.
That's something that I can consider. Yeah, Connor and I spoke before the meeting. There's actually no resolution that's going to be brought up right after this. But the College of Agriculture does a lot of great work for a lot of great people outside the university. This specific work that's being done has gained attention outside the university already. But no, you're right. It would be a coincidence. Thanks.
We can entertain an amendment and, yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm just saying.
So that's what he's looking for.
Yeah.
Chair Banks.
Chair Banks, academic affairs. I was just wondering, Chair Berger, how many science classes you take in college bag?
Oh gosh, too many.
Apparently.
At least. What?
I said most of them are science.
Yeah, just about every class in the college bag is science, with the exception of like art department. But what's cool about our major is we actually get the opportunity to see a lot of different realms of the agricultural industry. just because we do get a lot of elective options within our college. And so with that, we get to take all kinds of science classes, whether it be animal science, soil and crop science, entomology, anything like that. And so I've done my best because of, what my potential career aspirations are, to kind of see a little bit of every industry. And also I'm just a nerd. But yeah, bunch.
Very briefly follow up.
Go ahead.
As academic affairs chair, I'm just grateful to be on lecture.
With a minute and a half remaining, Chairman McGill. And with a minute and a half remaining, do I see any further questions for our presenters? Seeing none, thank you guys. And with that, we'll now move into a period of debate. Do I see any debate against this resolution? Chair would like to remind you that debate against is a perfect time for an amendment. Do I see any debate against this? Yes, Chair Banks.
Chair Banks, Academic Affairs, I have an amendment.
Please state your amendment.
I would like to add the Texas Tribune to the let it be sent to. Yes, email.
Seeing multiple seconds, all those in favor of adding the Texas Tribune to let it be further resolved for, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? That passes. Chair Banks, you still have the floor in debate against.
I look forward to Chairman Gill.
Chair Gill, Student Services, I have an amendment.
Please state your amendment.
I move, to add, let there be further resolve for, to send this amendment also to Dr. Jeff Hyde, Director of Agriculture.
Seeing multiple seconds, all those in favor of adding Dr. Jeff Hyde, the Director of Agri-Life Extension, to be let it be further resolved for, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? That passes. Chairman Go, you still have the floor in debate against.
I will
Thank you. The floor has been yielded to. We'll now move into your period of debate for. Do I see any debate for this resolution? Seeing none, debate is one-sided and the period of debate has now closed. We'll now move into a period of voting. All those in favor of passing SR 18, the Cottonseed resolution, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? That passes. Thank you. Do I see any further pieces of legislation for consent? Yes. Chair Rodriguez.
I have a piece of legislation I'd like to bring forward.
Please state your title.
2019 Pennsylvania University 2018 resolution.
Seeing multiple seconds, if the bill authors and sponsors will please come down to the floor.
Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
So the previous resolution, we just saw how service to the College of Agriculture is. Another way that we want to highlight that here in the Senate body is just by kind of recognizing and showing the College of Agriculture is not just about being a research institution within our great institution. It's also want to advocate for our college in different means, ways. One is which is our judging teams that they compete every year. So we're bringing one forward about a team that was successful recently, our meat judging team. Those aren't familiar with meat science or meat judging. There's literally a science into the development of meat. That's a legit thing, and it's so cool. You look at consideration of just simply like a steak. There's a reason why steaks might have one price and another one might have a higher price. It's because there's value in it. And so these teams go out and evaluate that and take the knowledge they have here at the institution, put it to practice, and hopefully once they graduate, they put that into the food science industry. So here we go. We're going to read off of it really quick. It's a resolution commending the history and recent efforts of the Texas A&M University meat judging team. Whereas established in 1876, Texas A&M University, formerly known as the Agricultural Mechanical College of Texas, was created with the intention of delivering a quality collegiate experience. An experience for individuals looking to further knowledge, in fields similar to those taught in our present day colleges. And the College of Agricultural Life Sciences has been a crucial part to the development of scientists and Aggies since the school's conception, providing practical experiences for students to take they learn in classrooms and apply in an educational setting. Some of the ways in which students from the College of Agricultural and Life Sciences have been able to practice what they learn in the classroom is through the College's commitment towards sponsoring collegiate livestock, meat, wool, animal welfare, horse judging teams, and whereas since 1938, Fine Texas Aggies have represented our beloved university and college by successfully competing in collegiate meat judging contests such as the Southwestern and the American Royal. And whereas 5, Texas A&M University meat judging team has provided 19 national champions since 1958. Therefore, let it be resolved, the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences Student Senators joins the rest of the Texas A&M University Student Senate in commending Dr. Leslie Frenzel and its 2019 Texas A&M University meat judging team for their recent successes in winning the 2019 American Royal Meat Judging Contest. And let it be further resolved, 3, Texas A&M University Student Senate wishes the 2019 Texas A&M University meat judging oh yeah, so that's it's a little pop up here. So that's the luck as they compete throughout the rest of this academic year. Looking for the result of the resolution sent to the following. That is all.
Thank you. With that, move into a period of question and answer. Do I see any questions for our presenters? Senator Ramirez?
Cada director of science. I have a question. Why need to know about that meat judging team if I know in a college or agriculture? I mean, for instance.
How can you get involved?
How do you get involved with it? So there's different ways. I think the simplest way is reaching out to Dr. Leslie Frenzel. She's someone that did all her work doing her PhD towards meat science, and she's one that coaches it each year. If you go to the animal science department located in Clayburgh, which is literally right across from the bell tower on our west campus, you'll be able to talk to them there about maybe being involved and just learning simply what they do. If you walk into the Clayburgh building, you go to all the surrounding hallways, you'll see a bunch of photos and even trophies for all the successes that the meat judging team, livestock judging team, and other teams have had throughout the years. Yep. Thanks.
Do any further questions for our presenters? Seeing none, thank you guys. And with that, we'll now move into a period of debate, starting with debate against. Do I have any debate against this resolution? Yes, Chair Berg.
I have an amendment.
Please state your amendment.
Seeing that Chair Rodriguez forgot to add me, I move to amend this resolution by inserting the name Evan Berger, Rules and Regulations Chair, under the line of sponsors.
Okay. Seeing multiple seconds, all those in favor of adding Chair Berger's name to be a sponsor of this resolution, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? That passes. Chair Berger, you still have the floor in debate against.
I give the floor to Chair McGill.
Chairman Gill, Student Services, I have an amendment.
Please state your amendment.
I just have an amendment to add Dr. Chris Lamb to their form of Resolve 4, as you cannot be on the division team without being a science major in his department of science.
Okay. Seeing multiple seconds, all those in favor of adding Dr. Cliff Lamb, the department head of animal science, to let it be further resolved 4, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? That passes. Chair McGill, you still have the floor in debate against.
I yield my time to.
The floor has been yielded to. We'll now move into a period of debate for this resolution. Do I see any debate for this resolution? Okay. Seeing none, debate is one-sided and the period of debate has now closed. And we'll now move into a period of voting. All those in favor of passing SR 19, the 2019 Texas A&M Meat Judging Team Resolution, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? That passes. Do we have any further pieces of legislation for open session? Okay. Seeing none, that now concludes the period of open session, and we'll move into a period of committee reports, starting with Pro Temp
Hall here. If you've been having trouble finding Google Forms or something, let me know on the drive. It seems like some may have gotten deleted inadvertently. If you do not have your contact information on the Google Sheet, please come up to me after the meeting and give me that. There's just a few of y'all. Besides that, that's it.
Any questions for Pro Temp Hall? Seeing none, thank you, Chair Berger.
Chair Berger, Rules and Regulations. Howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
So first thing, y'all are all welcome to attend next Wednesday. We're having our Rules and Regulations Committee meeting. I don't have a time for you yet. I can send it out, I guess, once we do have a time. But yeah, next Wednesday afternoon. And then just a reminder, whenever we are making amendments, make sure to use proper language when you are making an amendment. And so with that, you'll just stand up and say, after you announce that you have an amendment and you've been recognized by the speaker, go ahead and you'll say, I move to amend this motion or this resolution or this bill by removing these words, inserting these words, or whatever it is that you want to do to it. Just make sure you're using the proper language. And if you're still confused on that, I'm absolutely happy to discuss that with you after this. Then on dress code, we're still doing a pretty good job, but let's not let things slip. If you have kind of a feeling that you might be in incorrect dress code, guys, come to me. I'm happy to, clear that up for you. Girls, Chair McGill is happy to clear that up for you. And then last but not least, subcode tonight. Love to see all that.
Thank you. We'll now go into a period of question and answers, starting with Chair Harris.
Chair Harris, Finance, will you be attending subcode?
I will, and I'll be bringing Chair Harris.
Commissioner Holloway, should everyone else attend subcode?
Yeah, in my professional opinion, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any further questions for Chair Berger? Seeing none, thank you. Chair Harris.
Chair Harris, Finance. Everything's been pretty slow after allocations. We are currently in the process of working with Kale, the Development Commissioner, to try to get the Finance Committee to keep everybody involved throughout the semester and trying to find some more work for all of us. Other than that, everything's good.
Any questions for Chair Harris? Yes, Senator Morgan.
Senator Morgan, College of Education, are you excited for attending subcode?
I am extremely excited.
Thank you. Any further questions? Yes, Chair Berger.
Chair Berger, Rules and Regulations, excuse me. Have we heard too much about subcode tonight, and this should be the last time it gets brought up during the official meeting?
Yes, probably so.
Awesome.
Wonderful. Thank you. Any further questions for Chair Harris? Okay, seeing none, thank you. Chair Rodriguez.
Chair Andres, Legislative Affairs Chair. Hi, Senate.
Howdy.
Not too much to report from LA. We did not have a meeting this past week with the religious and personal obligations we had outside of Senate. However, I did have a chance to sit down with my counterpart in SET, Mr. Gregory Frost. Great guy. We're going to be talking relatively soon again. We sat down at a lovely establishment called the Nettle Monday Morning, and we talked over some pancakes and other great things. And we have some things looking forward to working between LR and LA. Outside of that, not too much to report. What questions? Thank you.
Any questions for Chair Rodriguez? Seeing none, thank you. Executive Director Gupta.
Director Gupta, Operations, how you doing?
Howdy.
So, like Connor mentioned, like if anybody needs any help, like navigating the drive or using forms, finding forms, feel free to let one of us know. He has a lot of stuff that he's always working on doing, so if you want to let me know, I'd love to work with you, sit down sometime, grab lunch or coffee, pretty cool. The forum, we implemented it. If anybody has any questions with that, please let me know. The open session folder is something we started at the beginning of the session, and so that's been running pretty smoothly, and it's really fast to have bills already up there. And then once they're passed, for the operations committee to go in, format them, and get them printed. We've been trying to print them immediately right after the meeting, so they can be signed, implemented, sent out to whoever they need to be sent out to. So that's been really good. Thank you guys so much for doing that. Also a reminder, there was a pact in place that was passed. So you have to send the contact info for whoever you're sending bills out to. Because if we can't find it, then I don't know what to say. We can't send the bill to them. So if there's someone special that you want to send the bill to that might not be someone that works at A&M, or someone that's well known, we might not be able to find that. So we would love for you guys to attach their email, or if you want to send them a physical copy, the address to where they can be sent to. And then the last thing is the new templates. And so
a lot of the bills and resolutions that people have been writing have been like from previous sessions templates. So just a reminder to use the template that's in the drive when you're writing these resolutions. Cool. Any questions?
Any questions for Executive Director Gupta? Seeing none, thank you. Chair Riosa.
Chair Riosa, Community Relations, howdy Senate.
Howdy.
So quick updates. I have not too much to update about my committee, but some meetings I've been attending, just kind of relay you guys in what's happening. So I went to the planning and zoning meeting that city council had on October 3rd. And at that meeting, they covered different legislation that was passed through the House. Some of the ones they passed were the annexation, building materials, the shot clock bill, the kind of reform, public speaking, and residential building permits. Those are all, more explained in detail on the actual website. You guys can go and look those up. There's a lot of information on those there. The one that wasn't passed, that was actually halted in the House, was the protection of pedestrians and bicyclist operators. So I feel like that might be something we'll work with John Ryan. I haven't talked about it yet, but this will be starting the conversation. Okay. Just because that is something that's been a problem in the past with students riding bikes and individuals getting hurt, not knowing the proper ways to ride bikes, and also vehicle operators not properly driving. So just having some more information with that. And also there's going to be a November 21st meeting that's going to be going over the overlay that's trying to reduce the amount of students that are allowed in actual house. So I'll be attending that city council meeting. That's pretty much all I have right now to leave you guys open to questions.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for Chair Riosa? Seeing none? Chair Banks.
Sure, Ben, back in Ferris. I got some pretty big updates for y'all. So I think I mentioned last week how I worked with Stephen Klein, who was here earlier, and the provost office to get paid proctoring removed from online classes. I just had a meeting with the provost on Monday, and that's saved students $1.2 billion. I am working with the university to hire a brand new director of online classes. I think it's the name you guys can. She's actually looking. I'm going to have a meeting with her next week. She's actually looking to kind of form a list of all the different online class platforms that different online classes have. So like Cengage, Pearson, other platforms. So if you have any online platforms that you have used in online class, like really get understanding a little bit, maybe like you have to pay for a different version of Blackboard, like maybe you have to pay for Proctor or something like that, please let me know. So online class is going really well. The other big issue that's kind of a lot of progress is faculty accountability. I've been having a lot of people coming up and saying things like, oh, this professor is not being fair, or this syllabus isn't fair, or the syllabus is violating the student rule 17 today. So there are a lot of kind of issues right there where students really don't know where to go. And in that meeting with the provost on Monday, she said that she'd actually bring them up with her people and we can all working on that. So it's really good to see actual activity coming out of that. And also myself and shout out to Gunnar Smith, who is my faculty accountability coach. Also, we're starting to work really heavily on the academic Open Access Resource Award, which are given out next semester to faculty members who really try to integrate open access materials into their coursework. So we'll keep you updated on that. We're going to be meeting with the weather. With that, I'm open to questions.
Any questions for Chair Banks? Seeing none, thank you. Chair McGill.
Chair McGill, Student Services. So first of all, for my community listening, I know in our group meeting, I said our next meeting will be November 6th, so because resolution about these we'll be having a committee meeting sooner than that, so please be on the lookout for me. I'll also let everyone else know, so that's something you're interested in, please come to this meeting. I know Claire and Reed will definitely be heading that up. Also, I sent out a Google form, I think last week, about joining the Healthy Lifestyle Subcommittee. If you have not filled that out and you're still interested in it, please fill it out. I'll send it out again tomorrow. Even if you told me that you want to be a part of the subcommittee, I still need you to fill out that Google form just so we have all of your information, so we have a whole list of everyone. So it's going to be really exciting. We have a lot of really cool stuff planned so far. Again, Claire and Reed Gill are in charge of that. So Claire Rowan and Claire Rowan and Reed Gill. I thought we were the same, just last name. So they're in charge of that. So it'll be really exciting. So we can also send that out tomorrow. Also, we are with resolutions said earlier. I met with Helpline yesterday about a couple of mental health issues on campus and a couple of issues before. So if those are anything you're interested in working with, I actually am trying to meet with the board in the next 2 weeks. So if you'd like to tag along or talk to me about that, please let me know. You would I'm also working with State Banks on a ACE 199 requirement for all students beginning class of 2024. Again, it's in the works. Pretty much everything I say, if you want to talk about, next week is Health Education Week, so please be on the lookout for any flyers, any social media from myself and SGA. That was part of the things. We might have tabling, not sure about that. I will send out that email with the meeting form. I'm also working with T-Banks on an online class. So every online class that you take, if it's only offered online, we're working on an initiative to have an option in person. So we cannot just have an online option. I know a lot of us usually accept that and be excited about it, but we think there needs to be an option for students who do not want to be locked up in their room several hours a day working on an online class. And lastly, I had a meeting also yesterday with the associate dean for the College of Life Sciences about maybe changing stations on campus. We'll be applying for a grant and meeting with someone in the Dean of Student Life to see about getting changing stations in every single basketball campus. So, thank you. That was a lot. Any questions? If there was something that I said that sparked your interest, please come talk to me. Like, I can't do all this alone. I'm trying to apply to law school. It's a lot.
Any questions for Chairman Go? Seeing none, thank you, Chair Spur.
Chair Spur, Constituency Affairs. Howdy y'all.
Howdy.
Just a few things for me. So I know we've talked lots and lots about ag input. Good news, it finally went out last week. Yeah, that was I'm not technology savvy, so watching me scream at a Google form was really fun. But we figured it out. It went out to about 700 organizations on campus. We did have a few emails about bounce backs. That's why the number's not totally right, but we are going to do that list from Marie and update, make sure everything's correct. So we are getting it out to every organization possible. We got some really good feedback. So our question this month is talking about help on campus, which is perfect considering we just created a subcommittee for that. So I'm going to be working with Claire and Reed on some suggestions we received. I will tell y'all, just let y'all know, a lot of the suggestions we're getting are actually from grad students, and they have to do with mental health on campus. Almost everything that we've had come to us is about mental health and it being an issue on campus. So y'all are aware your constituents want things on mental health. And I will be, once I get a few more responses, I'm waiting until I get probably a week's worth of time. I will send like a sent white email with some of the a summary of the responses, just so y'all are aware of like what your constituents are voicing as well, so that we can all be held accountable on what we're presenting. Then AJ and I are working on meeting to just speak to boards. It's another part of ag input is going to speak to boards about what we do instead of what we do in SGA. So if you're interested in going to speak to boards in an organization, please feel free to reach out to me or reach out to AJ. Like I said, we will get license for that. So it's kind of an incentive to go speak to the organization. Then we're gearing up for our November ag input. I began working on that last night about 1 in the morning. But we're getting started on that newsletter and that question for November, so that comes out promptly at the beginning of November and not midway through October. We kind of had to get everything started up in October, but now it should be smooth sailing. We did not have a committee meeting this week. I told my committee they turned in a committee report the day that could count as their attendance for our meeting. Our caucus leaders are working really, really hard. Y'all, these people are working hard and meeting with deans, they're meeting with professors. They're trying really hard to make sure that we're doing everything that we can for our constituents. So props to them, good job, caucus leaders. And thanks for really my experience caucus leader, but if you're not, y'all are doing great too. I know I met with Christian either last week or the week before. We're working on some cool things to do with Linty and umbrellas. So that'll be super interesting. It's and then last but most certainly not least, our Senate event for the month is going to be a week from today at due to fire code, they can only have 50 people in a room, so we are doing this by RSVPs for like the library's request. From what I understand, they said they were gonna try to bring in a speaker for us and give us either some free t-shirts, some free koozies and stuff. They really love Senate, they really love SGA, they want to work with us for the year. So this is something special that like they're allowing us to do. So that's gonna be next Wednesday, the 23rd at 7 p.m. And if you've got like class or something, and you can later, no worries, but please make sure to RSVP to me by Sunday so that we can make sure that we hit that 50 and we don't, turn someone away if you're, oh, no, because we can't have more than 50 people in the room due to the library. But with that, I don't have any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Chair Spur? Seeing none, thank you. And that concludes our period of committee reports. And we'll now move into a period of executive reports, starting with Student Body President Gillette.
Well, howdy, Senate.
Howdy.
Howdy. Got a couple of things I'll be quick to get us out by 9 o'clock tonight. First off, Associate Justice applications. Have never seen so many applications for a spot. It's been absolutely tremendous how many people. So if y'all have talked to anybody about applying to that, great. It's going to be an extremely hard decision, but looking forward to getting a couple great people for that. Student Services Vice President Jake Traylor has been working with Transportation Services about a proposal going out about more moped parking on campus that they are very on board with. So be on the lookout for that. For healthy on-campus dining, I was able to be in a meeting with a couple of really big stakeholders. There's this thing called Fuel that is happening in the core, spelled FYUL, where basically it's a station that has awesome healthy options that are made from scratch that are really great in terms of protein, healthy vegetables, clean eating, things like that. And my big pitch is how are we moving this to the rest of campus. So really great partners there that are really interested in that. Dr. Dean Stover is also interested in helping with some sort of experiment on students about does Texas A&M generate a place where we leave healthier than we did when we came in as a freshman. So really excited to see where that goes as well. The Sol Ross Penny statute or application is out. For those that don't know, every 2 years we get to decide which student organization gets the pennies for the organization to help drive that forward. Something that y'all might have heard of, Mayor Mooney's wife passed away, Mayor of College Station, so please be keeping them in your thoughts. Very, very unexpected on that. Really sad to see that happen. Cookies and coffee with the SPP. Thank y'all for a couple of y'all that came out. We saw, 180, 190 people in an hour and 35 minutes, so great success on that. We're doing it next week in the Zachary building next Friday. Most likely from 12 to 2 p.m., but finalizing that last piece. The last thing that I wanted to echo, like Chair Spur and my sister AJ said, please be speaking to organizations. We were elected to do a job, and that is to continue to communicate and work for our constituents, work on behalf of the student body, and we really need to make sure that we're communicating with them on what SGA does as well. It's great that Holdus knows what we are doing, but let's make sure that every other building on campus knows what we're doing, and I think that'll help us be very successful. Without that, that's all I got. Any questions?
Any questions for SVP Gillette? Yes, Senator Ramirez.
How many applicants
For Chief Associate Justice?
Yes.
So I won't give the exact number. I will say north of 25. Yeah. Any other questions?
Any further questions for SVP Gillette? Seeing none, thank you.
Gigs.
Howdy, Senator.
Howdy.
All right. So a few things, and one is like Chairman Gill mentioned with the banking resolution going to the Student Services Committee. Please use this as a resource for you guys to talk about it more, to really hash it out in committee. That's the beauty of it. And so talk to the bill authors and sponsors a bit as well. Please, if you have different pieces that you're concerned about or different questions that you have as far as administration, you guys please reach out to myself. A few people have done that. Senator Jeffers is one of them. Senator McHugh has reached out about a different piece. But if I know that you're interested in this, and if I know that you're curious on the administration's take, I can specifically make sure that you guys are informed. I talked to the president's office again over the weekend, as well as Dr. Pugh on where they are, and so I hope I can add more context to the conversation. So as it goes to committee and as you guys talk about it more so, just like Senator Jeffers did, please reach out, and I'd love to have a conversation with you. And with that, a few other things. I know that it's midterm season, so I appreciate you guys being here. I'm glad we finished a little bit earlier. Hopefully get you guys to the library. That's where I'm headed next. But as we kind of go into, I think we have 3 more meetings this semester. Let's try and finish strong. Make sure that, I know we have a lot of good pieces of legislation coming up. So I'm excited to see that. We're trying to do our best to as well. Expand who comes to Senate, expand who gets to hear what we talk about. And so, again, the faculty speakers here this evening, and so those conversations are going great. Mike and I met with them on Tuesday, a day this week. And so that's a good piece. MSC president will be coming to a meeting very, very shortly. I was texting her today, and she's eager to come. IFC president will be here as well in the next few meetings. And so we're doing our best to make sure different stakeholders around campus are here, willing to engage with you guys as well. So let's all do that. And on that note, I wanted to highlight the fact that we did have Mr. C, I believe, representing himself, also freshman class president. I think it's just a good point in general. A lot of senators around the SEC, a lot of senators around the country do kind of a better job of this, which is really just making sure they interact with students. That's the purpose of open forum. It's not necessarily so we can speak on behalf of ourselves or on behalf of the Senate. It's so that we can hear student input. That's what the beauty of open forum is. And so thank you for coming this evening. I appreciated your input. I'm sure everyone here did. I'm going to do a better job of trying to get students to come when we talk about different issues, and I encourage you guys, and I ask you guys to help me do that. That's really what open forum is for. Other than that, I met with the leaders of MS 150, which is the annual bike ride that they do traditionally from Houston to Austin, I believe. This year, actually, the first time ever that it's going to stop in Cold Station. So to stop in Kyle Field. If you know what it is, if you don't, it's a pretty big deal. They raise, I think, $20 million, something like that. And so it usually goes Houston to Austin. It's going to come from both Austin and Houston and Kyle Field. So anyways, that's far, far, far away in April, I believe. But I'm going to bring you guys more information with that, figure out how SGA can get involved. And I know one of my questions to them was, how do they get volunteers? It used to end at TU. And so they had a very good turnout of student volunteers, and so I told them that we probably could expect the same here. And so more information on that to come, but I'm sure we'll be willing to work with them. Other than that, Halloween meeting is next meeting, so that's on the 30th, I believe, day before Halloween. So I think Chair Berger mentioned it briefly, but you guys are welcome to wear costumes. That is the annual tradition of Student Senate. So please, if you're not in business professionals, the only other option is to be in costume. Make sure it's appropriate, but we'd love to see you guys dressed out. And we usually get a pretty good annual picture for the Facebook page. Other than that, beat the hell out of midterms, and I look forward to seeing you then.
Are there any questions for the presenter? Chair Banks.
Chair Banks, thank you. So you say you're going to the library after this. Does that mean that you're not going to get something?
Going to what?
Say you're going to go to the library right after this. Does that mean you're not going to get something?
Unfortunately, yes. I had a midterm today, and I have another one tomorrow. So, yeah.
Chair Rodriguez.
Chair Rodriguez, Social Affairs Chair. It seems that you're very interested in our Halloween meeting, so I'm just going to ask you, what will you be wearing for Halloween?
I think I'm going to refer that question to SVP Gillette, which I think he has a point to make. So, SVP Gillette. Hope that answers your question.
SVP Gillette.
Will you dress up with me in some sort of theme or team costume?
Yes. I think the worst part of Halloween is you guys are going to sound so bad. It's being creative. So yes, I'll dress up with you.
I'm not creative.
Perfect. It's on Thomas. Then. He's in charge.
Oh, yeah.
Are there any other questions for the presenter? Seeing none, we will move into a period of closing roll call.
Howdy, Senate. Justice Chopra. Mendoza.
Howdy.
Chair Berger.
Howdy.
Mr. Harris. Howdy. Mr. Rabioso. Howdy. Mr. J.R. Rodriguez. Howdy. C. Rodriguez. Chair Banks.
Howdy.
Mr. Gill.
Howdy.
Ms. Berg.
Howdy.
Mr. Guzzo.
Howdy.
Senator Ahmed.
Howdy.
Senator Aiken. Senator Ali.
Howdy.
Senator Chada. Senator Anderson. Senator Cabrera. Senator Carlson. Senator Clay. Senator Damien. Howdy. Senator Dang. Senator Gray. Senator Demus Harris. Senator Dow. Howdy. Senator Feldman. Howdy. Senator Fisher. Senator Flores. Senator Frank.
Howdy.
Senator Julio Garcia.
Howdy.
Senator William Garcia.
Howdy.
Senator Gay. Senator George. Senator Glisman. Senator Graham. Senator Hanley. Senator Hardison.
Howdy.
Senator Hutto. Senator Jeffries. Here. Senator Clayman. Senator Cortez.
Howdy.
Senator Crowe. Senator Landry. Senator Luttrell.
Howdy.
Senator Mandel. Senator Marufo.
Howdy.
Senator Martin.
Howdy.
Senator McHugh.
Howdy.
Senator McGill. Senator McQueen.
Howdy.
Senator Montez.
Howdy.
Senator Morgan.
Howdy.
Senator Murphy. Senator Newman.
Howdy.
Senator Yola.
Howdy.
Senator Pauls.
Howdy.
Senator Peta.
Howdy.
Senator Pena.
Howdy.
Senator Pett. Senator Price.
Howdy.
Senator Ramirez.
Howdy.
Senator Resendez. Senator Rivera.
Howdy.
Senator Rowan.
Howdy.
Senator Ruggles. Senator Hayden Smith.
Howdy.
Senator Gunnar Smith.
Howdy.
Senator Tran.
Howdy.
Senator Frostfire.
Howdy.
Senator Tomlinson. Howdy. Senator Ulick.
Howdy.
Senator Walter. Senator Wheeler. Senator Wood.
Howdy.
Senator Hine.
Howdy.
Senator Nassus.
Howdy.
Senator Oldag.
Howdy.
Senator Rahman.
Thank you. Have a good night.
We'll be working on Americans.
Hey, Roy.
Yes.
How do you have to?
Just an entomologist. No, I'm doing homework at school.